Dangerous on the base paths. The American League stolen bases leader. Nabbed one last night. 52 on the season. 1 ball and 1 strike. Has been in the middle of it with the Blue Jays. First, his comments a couple of weeks ago in Tampa Bay that may have fired up the Jays a little bit. Lit them up after he said that only Vernon Wells and Carlos Delgado were the Blue Jays and the rest of the team had very little fight. Right away, first play made by Mike Bordick. Shortstop tonight. Coming up here, though, the most dangerous hitter this week in Toronto, Julio Lugo. First Monday.
And each one of these home runs goes a little bit further. This one off of Josh Towers down the left field line. And I think he knew that one. And then last night, first pitch that he saw from Kelvin Escobar to dead center field. Should we start calling him Babe Lugo? What do you think? 14 home runs now. That's a career high and a team record for shortstops for Tampa Bay.
Well, Babe Ruth consisted of about 4 Julio Lugos, though. And I'm with only 14 home runs. You probably have to hit another 46 over the next 4 days. But yeah, he has shown some real pop here and was involved in the first couple of nights. And there's the 0-2 that got away from Kevin Cash in his own way, with all of the wild pitches and brushbacks and beanings that were going on, because it was shortly after Lugo hit a home run. And there's Kevin Cash.
That one looked like it got maybe his right thumb. You see how that hand is exposed a little bit, or maybe the wrist area. You see him kind of shaking off his hand there as that ball bounced off of him.
Lugo, base hit. And Lugo makes a big turn at first base on Monday, hit the home run. A couple of batters later, Roy Halladay was ejected for beating Rocco Baldelli. The next night, Josh Towers is the victim, and then he throws behind Aubrey Huff after the home run by Lugo. So
in a roundabout way.
In a roundabout way, he was kind of, he certainly had a good seat.
Well, he's had such a great series also. Now that'll put him right around 500 for this series. So he is now picking up where Damian Rolls has left off about battering the Blue Jay pitchers.
1 on, 1 away. Aubrey Huff, home run last night in the 9th inning. He was 1 home run shy of tying the Tampa Bay Devil Rays team record, Jose Canseco, back in '99. Huff also had a home run on Tuesday night off of Josh Towers. 33 on the season for Huff. Turns on 1. There's strike 2. And this very young outfield that can flash some glove, but also very good with the stick and very quick.
Swing in the wood. And it wasn't until Lou Piniella came along for Aubrey Huff and settled him in one position. Remember, he played some first base a couple years ago. He's played some third base, DH. Put him in right field with a stroke of genius.
Walker decides on tagging instead of scooping and throwing over to Delgado. Lugo goes down to second base, so 2 away. A runner is in scoring position for Rookie of the Year candidate Rocco Baldelli, who is celebrating his 22nd birthday today. Baldelli again was in the middle of it on Monday night when Halladay hit him on his backside and was ejected. So much hype, so much talk over the first couple of nights. It was wild here, and then nothing last night, with the exception of a wild pitch that really decided the ball game.
Best wild pitch I've ever seen in my life. Bases loaded. Remember, the count went to 3-2, and that allowed the runners to get a big head start. And when Toby Hall couldn't find the ball, the runner from third easily scored. Orlando Hudson scored easily, and it looked like Reed Johnson was going to score all the way from first base on a wild pitch. Got thrown out by a couple steps.
Fouling it down the right field line past first base coach Billy Hatcher down there. Let's go back to last night in the 7th inning.
Well, Vernon Wells gets an RBI on this, and you can see Toby All has no idea where the ball is, and it's up to Joe Kennedy to go over to the on-deck circle of the Blue Jays and makes a pretty good play. He slid into that ball and off-balance throw, strike to the catcher. Really to get Reed Johnson by just a couple steps.
It was a 3-2 game last night at that point. 2 more runs added on, and then the D-Rays add 1 in the 9th. Blue Jays win 5-3. They won 8-5 on Tuesday and lost 5-2 on Monday. They are 7-11 against these D-Rays this season. 1 ball and 2 strikes, 2 away. Lugo still at second. And he got him. So Pete Walker only gives up the base hit to Julio Lugo as we head to the bottom of the first.
MLB at Home is presented by Roman, the digital health clinic for men and proud partner of Major League Baseball.
Reed Johnson leads off again for Carlos Tosca. His 20-game hit streak came to an end last night. The DH tonight is Frank Catalanotto back in the lineup. Vernon Wells 1 hit shy of Tony Fernandez's record back in 1986. Carlos Delgado 1 home run shy of 300. And Johnson digging in against Jorge Sosa, the starting pitcher tonight for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. They last met Sosa in Tropicana Field and lit him up a bit.
They did it with the long ball in that ball game. 3 home runs, Hinsky, Wells, and Delgado.
Reed Johnson last night. Couple of walks, runs scored, but the hit streak, which was at 20, a Jays rookie team record, comes to an end.
And this little hot streak that Reed Johnson has been going through has really catapulted him now up to the lead in rookie batting average of all rookies, 295. Marco Baldelli is third at 290, and Angel Baroa, the shortstop from Kansas City Royals, is second. He's having a heck of a rookie year also, but Reed Johnson leads all of them in batting average.
1 ball 2 strike pitch down the line. Had Johnson been able to string it together all season long, certainly he would be getting some consideration for Rookie of the Year. The center fielder for Tampa Bay is one of the co-favorites, you would think, with Hideki Matsui of the Yankees. You know, the way the Eastern Seaboard writers may think, especially New York, and Matsui might be the favorite. And he got him looking. Our starting pitcher tonight, as always, brought to you by Rogers AT&T Wireless. Imagine getting more from your phone.
Well, Jorge Sosa tries to avoid losing his 4th straight start. He has been knocked around a bit in his last 3 outings, giving up 14 runs and 22 hits in 17 innings of work. He's got a very live arm, and just like Tuesday's starter for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, a converted everyday player. This guy used to be an outfielder in the Seattle organization. You can see he's got a pretty good arm. Can run the ball up there in the low 90s. Didn't have much luck as an everyday player. Looks like he's found a home on that mound.
Frank Catalanotto, 2 strikes against him. His first appearance last night. Catalanotto in a week after having some tightness in his hamstring. Up the middle. Lugo can't dive to make the play. Baldelli will run, but Catalanotto has a single. Well, our first update tonight, busiest guy around here is Vic Rauter, catching up with the pennant races. Vic? Looks like it's pretty much a done deal that the Boston Red Sox are headed to the postseason. Now Vernon Wells again, hit shy of the Blue Jays hit record, AL hits leader. In fact, he leads in almost all the offensive categories in the American League.
I thought that was a neat little thing we did on the opening there, going around and asking his teammates what they thought of him. And a lot of them have a lot of high praise for Vernon Wells. But you know, you look into the numbers and you see last year he had a great year, I thought. 23 home runs, 100 runs batted in. Well, he has gotten better this year. 28 more runs scored. His total bases, he's had over 100 total bases, more so than last year. Talked about the 45 points on the batting average. 10 more home runs, 16 more runs batted in. On base percentage 54 points higher. I don't know how you can get better. Carlos Tosca thinks that Vernon Wells can get even better. I don't know how you can improve on some of the numbers he has put up this year, all the while playing a very demanding position in center field.
Now 3 balls and 1 strike. Jorge Sosa probably has some pretty good muscle memory from Wells and Delgado, who went back-to-back on him back in Tampa the last time they faced him in the 7th inning in their win over Sosa and the D-Rays. Here's the 3-1 pitch, fouled away.
I was talking to Mike Barnett today, and I was asking him about Vernon Wells and what has made him a better player this year, because I'm astounded by the improvement that I've seen in him. He said, you know what, he's just learning the pitchers more. He's getting more comfortable, and he knows his swing, meaning that if he feels himself getting into a slump, he can pull himself back out of it. And I think that's why you see the great hitting streaks that he has put together this year.
Fouled away. He has had a number. We talked about Reed Johnson getting to 20. He got to 20 games. So did Mike Bordick, but
he had a 16-gamer. Yeah, he had a 12-gamer.
He doesn't go too many games in a row without a hit. Did not get a hit last night.
But Mike Barnett felt that he had some of the best swings of any of the Blue Jays in last night's ballgame. I think he popped up a couple of the pitches. He said he just missed them. But he felt that he was under control, and he had a nice short swing, and he was right on him. He just happened to miss them, and I guess that happens to the best of them also.
He was at the plate when they threw away the ball as well. And he walks this time. So 2 on and 1 away for Carlos Delgado. He too close to a milestone. Home run away from 300. 37 homers as Lou Piniella looks on. 135 RBIs. Delgado only 2 points under that exclusive club we talked about.
30 home runs, 300 batting average, 100 or more runs batted in.
Look back at the highlights of 2003 for the Blue Jays, and there are quite a few. Some lowlights too, but certainly Delgado's first half of the season, one for the ages. Absolutely spectacular. Big swing there from Carlos. Strike 1.
Remember the numbers when we were at the All-Star break talking about Carlos Delgado?
He was the MVP at the All-Star break.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Slowed down just a little bit, but how can you say, with 135 runs batted in, how can you say that you haven't done what you need to do in the second half? He's had a great year all the way around.
There it goes, deep to right center, and it is gone. Number 300 for Carlos Delgado. He wanted the ball. He's looking for the ball.
He asked Marlon Anderson, the second baseman, to get the ball. It actually hit windows and bounced down on the field, and Usher picked it up and threw it into the stands. And now the ball boy down the right field line is looking for the ball that's somehow making its way through those stands. But congratulations to Carlos Delgado. And when he does it in a big way. Watch this fastball. Absolutely crushed. No doubt about it. Watch where it lands. It hits windows and bounces back out onto the field. Number 300. Look at the reaction here of Carlos Delgado when he sees the ball on the field. I need that ball.
3-run monster shot. Second time he nailed windows this week. Number 398th major leaguer to hit 300 or more and counting. Eric Hinske to Carl Crawford for out number 2. So Carlos Delgado, milestone night here tonight.
Jorge nice. Sosa doesn't give up too many home runs, just 12 coming into this ball game.
But that's 2 at-bats in a row off of Carlos Delgado, where Delgado took him deep.
Big time. We talked about it down in Tampa a couple weeks ago. Hit a big home run to right field. I think it was the difference in the ball game.
And Bobby Kelty playing right field tonight for the Blue Jays. And the ever-present smile of Carlos Delgado. And look at those 2 guys right there. The meat of the order. You had all their numbers up.
Staggering.
Name a better 3-4 offensively in baseball. You look at those numbers and all
Andrew Jones, Sheffield come to mind. I don't know where Andrew Jones hits in the lineup. Edmonds, Pujols come to mind, but overall, those 2 guys, I can't think of anybody better.
There's out number 3, but the big 3 was a 3-run shot, number 300 for Carlos Delgado. Top of the second inning, 3-0 Carlos Delgado and the Blue Jays. 300 home runs now for Delgado. 138 RBIs on the season. Travis Lee into the gap off of Pete Walker for extra bases. Looks like he wanted to take off for third, but thought better of it. Delgado's 138 RBIs breaks the team RBI record. A guy he knows very well.
His own.
Yeah, his own record. What a shot. And Travis Lee opens up this second inning with this shot into the gap for a double.
Little hanging breaking ball from Pete Walker, and if they could have got the ball thrown behind Travis Lee, they might have had a chance at second base, as you see Delgado trailing the play.
And here's Damian Rolls. Pete Walker getting the start tonight. Actually wasn't the scheduled starter. Vinny Chulk, the newcomer, just called up recently, put into the relief corps, and then was going to get the start, but because of the Halladay ejection on Monday, was forced out of the bullpen and into some playing time, and so Chulk's first start was wiped out. Two balls and 2 strikes to Rolls, who rolls on against the Blue Jays, you might say. Every time he sees a Blue Jay uniform, his eyes light up. Great numbers against Toronto. Now a full count, 3-2. Normally does it with runners in scoring position. Bordick, sidearm across to Delgado for out number 1. Travis Lee scampering down to third base.
You know, you don't have to hit the ball to the right side to advance the runner. Damian Rolls actually makes the shortstop just go to his left, and anytime the shortstop has to go to his left to field a ground ball and you're a runner on second base, you can advance 90 feet. Looked like he might have had a chance to get it through the infield, but Mike Bordick eats it up, but Travis Lee still advances.
Here's Marlon Anderson. Last night's ball game, Anderson came up in the first inning with bases full. usually pretty effective with runners in scoring position, but he struck out. Kelvin Escobar had a terrific game last night with 10 strikeouts. Again, Dvorak backhands, only one play over to first. Gets it, but the D-Rays get on the board. Lee scores.
You know, you were just talking about Marlon Anderson. He was the guy who was at the plate 2 nights ago with runners on first and second, and he hit that shot down the right field line. Delgado made, I thought, the game-saving play over at first base. As you see, another good play by Mike Bordick. As we tie this whole thing together, we've seen some great defense by the Blue Jays, especially in this month of September. Orlando Hudson has taken hits away. We've seen Mike Bordick. The play he made in last night's ballgame, the turn 2 against Carl Crawford, was outstanding. And again, that Delgado play of 2 nights ago, that really would have tied that ballgame. But he made such a tremendous play, smothered it, and got the runner for the 3rd out over first.
You know, obscured by all of the name calling and the shoving and the melee the other night and the brushbacks and beanballs. 2 teams are playing pretty hard still.
And it's
not
a credit.
playing it out.
It's a credit to the players and it's a credit to the manager. But the thing that the Blue Jays are doing, I think, in September, they're throwing strikes and they're catching the ball. We all know the offense is going to be there and it's going to be up and down. But if you can throw strikes and catch the ball consistently, I think you're going to win ball games. The Blue Jays have only committed 14 errors the whole month of September. And I think that's one of the reasons why the record is so good in this last month.
Toby Hall sends it to center field to Vernon Wells. Pete Walker gives up a double run that was eventually cashed. The Blue Jays lead 3-1. Mike Bordick will lead off when we come back. Thank you, Vic Rauter at Baseball Control. Red Sox likely will uncork some champagne. Probably a pretty subdued celebration, though, because you have to get ready the next couple of days to begin the postseason. Looks like the Red Sox are going on. Mike Bordick to lead off against Jorge Sosa here in the 2nd inning.
And the reward the Boston Red Sox would be
the Oakland A's.
The Oakland A's in the 1st round of the playoff.
The Yankees would play the Minnesota Twins. Bordick out to Rocco Baldelli. Now, again, you know, you have to figure that the Yankees would be favored, and probably Oakland would be favored with that excellent pitching staff. But as we have found out in October, since they instituted the wild card, since they became best-of-5 series, anything can and usually will happen.
Absolutely, and I like Boston's chances because of one guy, Pedro Martinez. You know, overall, over 162 games, Oakland's big 3 pitchers really are very effective. But in a short series like that, you better have 2 dominant guys, and I think Derek Lowe and Pedro Martinez, 2 pretty good guys to have in a short series.
Game 1 would be Pedro against Hudson. Is that correct?
And Boston actually beat them in the season series 4 games to 3.
Talking about Tim Hudson as Orlando Hudson digs in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 away here. 3-1 Toronto.
A little different in the other Minnesota-New York series. The Yankees have owned the Twins.
Yeah, 7-0 during the season, but again, it's the playoffs. The Twins are kind of like the Cinderfellas.
And there's the season series that we were talking about, the Yankees beating them in every category up and down. But you're right, Rod, you never know in a 3-game series. The Twins are very hot right now, getting great pitching, and Johan Santana is going to start that first game. And you know the old adage of left-handed pitchers against Yankee batters. They seem to eat them up. If you got a good left-handed pitcher, you can beat the Yankees. Santana has been red hot for Minnesota.
1-2 pitch again, missing outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Sosa, who has had quite a history with the Blue Jays. He got his first ever win against Toronto. Came last year, but has also been beaten up a couple of times, including this year. Anderson backhand, and there's out number 2 here in the 2nd inning. Now over in the National League, I guess you have to wait maybe till the final day. Will it be the Cubs? Will it be Houston? St. Louis technically is still in it, but just by a thread.
Just barely.
Marlins are in. Giants are in. Braves will play that wild card winner.
Marlins, did they beat Philadelphia?
Well, Marlins,
If they beat Philadelphia, they're in tonight. Yeah.
There'd have to be a big fold up by the Marlins not to get in at this point. Now Kevin Cash. Tons of playing time Cash is getting. Native of Tampa Bay. In September, since he got called up, really, Carlos Tosca has been going with the young guy behind the plate.
And he's doing a good job of handling him offensively. He's putting him in situations where he can succeed. Hit and run in certain situations, sacrifice, get the guy over. We've seen him squeeze a couple times to get Blue Jay batters in from third base. I think it's just a matter of time before he feels a little bit more comfortable here. Learns the pitchers a little bit more. You can see the athleticism that he has. We see it behind the plate, and there's no reason why, Rod, that he can't take that batting also and be a productive hitter.
3 balls and 1 strike to Cash. Fly ball to Rocco Baldelli, and the side retired in order by Jorge Sosa. It is 3-1 Toronto through 2 at Skydome.
This Bud's for the Blues, the Reds, and the Warriors. This Bud's for the Giants, the Jazz, and the Magic. This Bud's for the home team.
Back at Skydome, where the Toronto Blue Jays lead the Tampa Bay Devil Rays 3-1. Pete Walker getting his final start of the season. Blue Jays scouting report on number 41.
One of the things that Pete Walker has in his favor is he's got very good movement on his fastball. He can cut it and he can sink it. Looks like he's got a pretty good splitter tonight. And talking to Carlos Tosca, he said he might be on the 70 to 75 pitch count. Threw a couple shutout innings just a few days ago against Baltimore, so they're hoping to get 70, 75 pitches out of him tonight.
Third baseman tonight for Lou Piniella is Jared Sandberg. Had a different number 9 hitter every night here for the D-Rays. Aubrey Huff is DHing tonight. Damian Rolls has been playing at third the last 3 nights. Gets put out to right field. Nephew of Rhino. Great Ryan Sandberg.
He was pretty good, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. I think he's getting a little excited, too.
Oh, his Cubbies.
Watching the Cubbies.
Sure.
Bordick throws over. There is something, though, about watching the Cubs and watching the Red Sox. And Yogi Berra's comment about it ain't over till it's over really applies to them. Because just when you think it's done or they're in, things happen.
Well, if they both get in, I think that's going to be great for baseball, just to watch that aspect of it.
Imagine if they got to the series. Could you imagine?
No.
And anything is possible, especially with that Cubs pitching staff, but they have to get in.
Could you imagine the loser of that World Series that you were talking about, the pain that they would go through?
Yeah, then they'd really be cursed, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
1 ball, 1 strike to Carl Crawford. Ground out to Bordick back in the first inning to lead off the ball game. Crawford into it the other night in the Donnybrook that ensued after Aquilino Lopez threw behind him and words were exchanged. A few shoves too. 2 balls, 1 strike. Former D-Ray Tanyan Sturts got in the middle of it, and he was jawing with Phil Cousy. Cousy, by the way, is down the first baseline tonight. Home plate umpire is Brian O'Nora.
Well, one of the things that Carl Crawford brings to the table, he's got so much speed, and you can see his swing, especially with 2 strikes, how he really tries to protect the plate, and he's actually running towards first base. Puts a lot of pressure on that infield. Got his 36th infield hit last night, which is a Tampa Bay Devil Ray seasonal record. And then if you get one up like that, he can hit it and sting it pretty hard as he lines out hard to Vernon Wells.
This kind of funny. We're in the third inning. Every night we've had to mention the umpires just before first pitch, but it seemed that everything had settled down last night. Peace was restored. There's Crawford going back. Now Julio Lugo, a base hit in the first. He's been the most productive D-Ray of the bunch this week. Again, 3 home runs in 3 nights here at Skydome. Down the line and foul. Two strikes against him. Cubs Red Sox. I can see it. Yeah, wouldn't that be something if it happened?
How about Pedro Martinez versus Mark Pryor? Would you pay to see that?
Kerry would too.
Kerry
Either
would.
or. Here's the 0-2 outside.
Red Sox with great hitting.
You know the last time they met in a World Series?
1906?
1918.
1918. That was the last time the Red Sox won.
Yes. They beat the Cubs that year. Chicago did have a world champion in 1917. Of course, that was the White Sox. And then 1919, the White Sox, that was the Black Sox scandal. Baseball needed Babe Ruth to pick itself up after that. Chicago Cubs last won the World Series. We're really speculating now if they get there. 1908.
1908. Okay. It'll be fun for all of baseball. And I think this season has been so unpredictable. I think the playoffs are going to be the exact same thing. I think it's going to be very unpredictable, and we might see a team kind of like the Anaheim Angels last year come out of nowhere where nobody would pick them to let alone play in the World Series, win the World Series. Might see something like that this year.
Might that be a Florida team if it gets in, or maybe Minnesota?
Yeah,
maybe. 3-2, got him. So Pete Walker goes 1-2-3, second strikeout. His team leads 3-1. Uncork the champagne.
They can put some runs on the board, can't they? The Boston Red Sox.
Good night. The party begins, and then it's over, and then it begins again. Red Sox should clinch their spot tonight. Reed Johnson, ground ball, base hit. Leading off the bottom of the third.
You just keep watching him day in and day out, and you seem to be more impressed with the way Reed Johnson handles himself on the baseball field, handles himself in the batter's box. Very impressive player.
Here's our scouting report on Jorge Sosa, the converted outfielder, turn pitcher.
Jorge Sosa throws a very heavy fastball that's going to sink hard in on those right-handed batters. His slider and changes is developing. You can see why, because he was a converted outfielder. Left-handed batters are having their way against him, though, hitting .311 for the season.
Frank Catalanato, base hit back in the first, got on. Vernon Wells got on, then Delgado hit his 300th.
You know, talking about Reed Johnson, here's a stat that I think that J.P. Ricciardi is very happy with. When you take a look at Reed Johnson, he leads all rookies in on-base percentage. He's had a .353 clip coming into this ball game. So for a guy who loves on-base percentage, and there's J.P. right there. I don't think they've really missed a beat since Shannon Stewart was traded over to Minnesota and Reed Johnson was put in that leadoff spot.
Before the season began, Carlos Tosca's magic number in his head for this team was 85 wins. After May, that might have seemed a little low. June and July, it might have seemed a little high, but Blue Jays are on pace with 2 wins in their final 4 games, and they get 85. They might get even higher. They play Cleveland, the lowly Indians, over the next 3 days. Roy Halladay goes on Saturday for win number 22, so this could exceed preseason expectations for the Blue Jays.
And everybody, when the season was starting, was, you know, what's realistic, a realistic record for the Blue Jays, and they were saying 500. maybe in May when they kind of played so well and teased us a little bit, that might have got us thinking a little bit more. But I've been very impressed with the ball club this year.
They've been fun to watch.
They have been very fun to watch.
Watching some of the newcomers like Catalinato fit in and Reed Johnson. Watching Vernon Wells and Carlos Delgado eat up opposition pitching. Here's the 2-2 to Catalinato. Fouled off. Two hits for the D-Rays tonight and a run. 3 hits for the Blue Jays. 3 runs. Blue Jays are 16-6 in September. They had 21 wins in that marvelous May. It's the rest of the months that they couldn't put together. Could be 2 here. Anderson, Lugo, Lee. Well done by the D-Rays.
And there's a veteran second baseman who's played on AstroTurf before, Marlon Anderson. Instead of trying to charge this ball and get it on the short hop, he actually plays back on it and gets it on the big hop where he gets down low and sees about eye level. Then you know he's got a lot of time because the ball was hit so hard, and for the 160th time the Devil Rays turn 2. Pretty fancy footwork around second base by Julio Lugo.
So now Vernon Wells. We've seen 1 mile slow. Broken bat here. Sandberg scooped up by Lee. That's why he is a Gold Glove candidate. Makes it look easy at first base. Blue Jays go down, but lead 3-1 after 3.
Good job, Marlo.
We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Sammy Sosa turning up the power the last couple of nights. Again, beginning the day, a game up on Houston for the NL Central. Sammy, as soon as he bursts into that hop, gone. I don't know about you, but that cork bat episode, so devastating to him and to the Cubs, and it seemed like a long time ago.
Yeah, so long ago, and that was only in June, wasn't it?
Almost forgotten. I don't think it ever will be, though. There's Aubrey Huff, the DH tonight. He's been out in right field the last 3 nights. Ground out to Pete Walker in the first inning, but a home run the last couple of nights for Aubrey Huff. Mike Bordick. Nice play again by the veteran shortstop. He is so smooth on anything near him. It's almost automatic for Mike Bordick.
He sure has, and that's about the 3rd or 4th time in this series alone that we've seen Bordick go to his left and kind of half slide to get the ball and get up very quickly and make a pretty good throw over to first base. And watching Mike Bordick do that for years and years and years.
You know, a guy contemplating hanging him up too, and the way he's playing is showing no signs of slowing down. Rocco Baldelli goes down here, out number 2. Right back to Pete Walker. Mike Bordick has said that this is likely it. Sunset on his career. Think he changed his mind?
You know what? That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know. But when you get to Mike Bordick's age and the kids and the family, you just say, you know what? Is it worth it to be gone all that time?
Yeah, he's been around for quite some time. And, you know, you talk about playoffs and mention Oakland. Remember '92? He was part of the A's then. A little angst and tension in that series.
Yeah. A little bit.
You were spouting off with Eckersley.
That was at the Eck, though, you know, because of what he was doing to some of the players here, yelling at our guys. But, you know, if Mike is having fun playing baseball and still getting enjoyment out of it, there's no reason to retire, because obviously his physical skills haven't deteriorated at all.
Then he goes to Baltimore as part of the whole Cal Ripken odyssey. One of the great moments in baseball. J.P. Ricciardi brought him into the game, scouted him. at first and brought him into the major leagues. It's a mean black bear, wasn't he?
Is that UConn or University of Hartford? That's right. He went to the University of Hartford. Actually played in the College World Series.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Travis Lee. Bordick out of his glove. And that doesn't happen very often. It was a hard hit ball. So hard it bounced right out of the leather.
I think you're absolutely right. Mike Bordick had this one tracked. Ball was hit awfully hard by Travis Lee, and it was just to his left, right there, and it looked like it hit him right in the webbing. Kind of bent that wrist back a little bit, and he thought he still had a shot. You see him kind of scramble after that ball. And when it rolled away a little bit on that AstroTurf, no chance to get Travis Lee over at first base. That's going to be a base hit.
Bringing up Mr. Rolls with 2 away in this 2-run game. Again, the Blue Jays like to take this series from Tampa, make it a little closer. Before this series began, they only had 5 wins against the D-Rays. Against 10 losses.
And owning them here at Skydome before this series.
Well, a lot of teams have come in here and made the Skydome their own. Blue Jays, however, with a win tonight, could even their home field record at 39-39. The road record, second best in the American League behind the Yankees. Lee at first, 1-1 to Rolls.
You can see Pete Walker every now and then he'll drop that arm angle just a little bit, maybe throw off the batter a little bit, maybe try to get a little bit more sink on that fastball. That was a pretty good pitch and a pretty good location right there from Pete Walker.
One-two pitch, Bordick. Well, what else? After one bounces out, one bounces to him. 3-1 Jays. Carlos leads off when we come back. Mr. 300. Well, there was 100 and 200, and tonight Carlos Delgado smash number 300. And there he is on the list behind Rogers Hornsby, who retired with 301. Here we are in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Delgado leading off. Last 2 times he's faced Jorge Sosa, he's taken him deep. Can he make it 3 in a row? There's a ball. There's a shot to right field, to the wall, and he does! Number 301. Oh my goodness! He has got Jorge Sosa's number. Folks, that's a hat trick.
Hat trick for Carlos Delgado. The first one was a fastball out over the plate. This time it looked like Jorge Sosa tried to slip a changeup by Carlos Delgado. Home run number 39. Watch this, down and away, and he just goes out and gets it. And just duck hooks that ball to right field, just over the fence and into the bullpen of the Devil Rays. Wow.
Oh, man. 4-1. Delgado, 139 RBIs on the season. 39 home runs, 1 away from 40, 301, tied with Rogers Hornsby now.
And the list goes on
and on
and on. I was talking a couple nights ago about reaching base 300 times and how the Blue Jays have only done it 2 times in their career. The last time with that man right there. He now has 296 times reaching base.
He was only Mr. 300 for about 45 minutes. Now he's Mr. 301.
And now you can put him on that list. Remember that list we did with 300, 30 home runs, 100 RBIs? He was 299 coming into that bat. I'm sure he's over 300 now.
And Eric Hinske. Last night the Blue Jays did it with small ball. Walks, being able to move runners. A wild pitch helped, and tonight it's all long ball, and it's all Carlos Delgado.
And that was awfully nice of him to right on cue. When you were saying, can he do it again? He must have been listening.
Well, the ever-present smile of Toronto's most popular athletes, one of Canada's most popular athletes, Carlos Delgado, also one of Canada's richest athletes. So Hinske gets first base, bringing up Bobby Kelty. Kelty, a switch hitter, who has sort of the reverse Hudson syndrome. Orlando Hudson being a switch hitter, bats better from the left side than the right side. Kelty bats better from the right side than the left side. Here's the 0-1 from Sosa, and nobody away here in the fourth. Ball getting away from Toby Hall. Hinske goes down to second base, and that's the second straight night that Toby Hall has had a tough time finding the baseball.
Well, I think this time he might have got his feet a little bit caught underneath him, because the ball actually hits into his glove and pops out a little bit. See, it's in his glove right there, and watch his feet kind of loses his balance, and when he does, he loses the ball, and it's sitting right on top of home plate, kind of disguised. You can see that glove. It looks like it's brand new, doesn't it? That orange glove.
Now the 1-1. Hinske in scoring position. Kelty to Anderson, deep in the hole. Hinske goes to third, one away. So Carlos Delgado making it a very big night here for milestones, and also joining that club at Tabby 300, 30-100 club.
Put him on there. Look at that. 301, 39 home runs, and 139 RBIs. Another record that we were talking about, another Blue Jay record for RBIs in a season.
Look at those numbers from Albert Pujols in St. Louis. My goodness. Mike Bordick down to Sandberg, and this will be out number 2. St. Louis, however, likely won't get to the playoffs. They did last year, remember. The Cardinals got to the NLCS against the Giants, but not this year. And everybody's talking about Pujols might be the next Yaz, the guy who could get Triple Crown numbers. A guy like Vernon Wells could get up there someday too.
Absolutely. You know, you talk about Pujols and the Triple Crown, and the unfortunate thing is, I don't think he's going to win the Most Valuable Player award. Slumped a little bit here in September, and that the series when the Cardinals went into Wrigley Field to play the Cubs, he was non-existent, and people are saying that that's where he lost the MVP award, right there in that series, big series. I think it's going to be Barry Bonds when it's all said and done, winning another Most Valuable Player award.
Hudson drills one to center. Baldelli retreating to the gap. No chance. Run scores. And a ground rule double. RBI double for Orlando Hudson.
And he continues to swing it. Rocco Baldelli was shading Hudson to right center field, but this ball was kind of hit and driven to left field, and the ball kept going away from Baldelli. It seemed like the harder Baldelli ran, the farther the ball kept drifting on him. Double number 21 for Orlando Hudson, and another run batted in.
And a 5-1 lead for the Blue Jays. Once again, number 9 hitter Kevin Cash. A good couple of nights at the dish for the Blue Jays. 2 base hits on Tuesday night in a sacrifice bunt. He does lead the Blue Jays in sacrifice hits. And remember, he's only been with the team a short time. He's been their most effective bunter, a team that doesn't bunt very often, but has bunted and laid it down the last couple of nights. Will not be bunting here. Kevin Cash again from the Tampa area. 2 strikes against him. With Hudson at second and the Blue Jays up by 4. Sosa delivers in the dirt. Do you know that Kevin Cash actually opened up Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg? He was there when
he awfully young.
He was, but they didn't even have a team at that point. They were hoping, and they were trying to lure the San Francisco Giants to Tampa Bay. He was a little leaguer, came back from the Little League World Series. And they had a big celebration in the opening of the Suncoast Dome. Did he go? Phil Cousy says no.
That had to be exciting.
Yeah.
I guess, if you're
And imagine like years later, you actually get a chance to go there and play as a big leaguer. He lost in the Little League World Series to a team from Hartford. Chris Drury, hockey player, played on that Hartford team and they won.
You were just a plethora full of information. That's good stuff.
Little League World Series.
Yeah.
It's World Series time. Little League or Big League. 2-2.
Gary Sheffield was a Little Leaguer from the Tampa area along with Derek Bell. They actually, did they win that? I think they won the Little League World Series when they were little kids.
Did you have any chance of getting to the Little League World Series when you were playing? Were you a good Little Leaguer?
No.
No?
I didn't play baseball when I was growing up.
Really?
Just a couple years in high school.
I love watching. I'm not so sure I like watching the Little League World Series now. I find it a little too serious.
Overdone. It's overdone.
Yeah, but I do love watching kids play baseball.
Yes. Yes.
And you're starting to see it happen a little more. I went through a little slump for a while, but it's nice to see the future Kevin Cash is out there. And even if they never play, it's such a great game to play if you're a kid. Here's the 3-2 again to Cash. Foul away.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That Little League World Series was always on just the finals. And now they show the regionals and the tournament to get you there, and then every round, and it's a little overdone. And
the kids got agents, for God's sake.
Yeah. But it is fun, the excitement and the way you're supposed to play the game. Thrill of victory kind of thing.
It might be a little overcooked, but there's some good young talented ball players too at that age. Again, full count to Cash with 2 away. And he got him on an off-speed pitch. Cash goes down swinging, but Hudson with a double. And Carlos Delgado with home run 301, his second of the night. It's 5-1 Blue Jays on TSN.
MLB at Home is presented by Roman, the digital health clinic for men and proud partner of Major League Baseball.
Sports Center coming your way tonight. O'Toole and Onright standing by after the ball game. 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific. Who's in, who's out in baseball? And I'm sure highlights of Carlos Delgado, who may not be done here tonight. He's a guy who has been able to spank 3 home runs in a game a couple of times. He's already had 2 here tonight to join the exclusive club at 300 and more. Now 301 home runs. It is 5-1 Blue Jays, top of the 5th. Marlon Anderson leading off against Pete Walker. Delgado is also 1 home run shy from 40. 4 games to go. Looks like he will get over 40 this year. He's kind of averaging about 37, 38. So you have to feel that within the next couple of years, Carlos Delgado will join the 400 club. And onward. He's been with the Blue Jays forever as a teenager. 31-year-old Carlos Delgado. A lot of good days left in him.
Yeah,
remember good at bats.
Remember Cito was talking about him when he was here over the alumni, saying that if he stays healthy and plays, that he's a sure Hall of Famer. I agree with him.
Well, it used to be that 400 home runs got you into the Hall of Fame, but that criteria will be changed, and 500 might be the number now.
Well, if he averages 40 home runs for the next 5 years, he's there. 500 home runs. Easier said than done, isn't
Yes,
it?
absolutely.
That's a lot of home runs. You know, going back and looking at Rafael Palmeiro and where he is now and the over 500. We just saw Sammy Sosa passing Mickey Mantle now for 10th place all alone on the all-time home run. That's a lot of home runs, and that's a lot of consistency. Putting the years together, the burning desire to stay competitive, to go out there year in and year out, all the at-bats.
1 ball, 1 strike to Toby Hall. It shouldn't be all about home runs too, but if you look at slugging percentage and on-base percentage, Carlos Delgado's on-base percentage with his slugging percentage,
well, the RBIs
and the RBIs is consistently among the best in the game. This one right to the glove Bobby Kelty 2 away here. Vic Rauter come in at baseball control. And it would be the first time since '93 when the Blue Jays went 1-2-3 in the American League. But yeah, they're calling Bill Miller Billy Ball game in Boston these days.
That team could just flat out hit, and the numbers that they're putting together, and they're going to break possibly some obscure numbers in Major League Baseball. Team slugging percentage, they are now beating the 1927 New York Yankees in that. Doubles, they're #1 in the American League in doubles. Total bases, hits, runs, at bats, average, RBIs. It goes on and on and on. Theo Epstein has put together a pretty good offensive team in Beantown.
The youngest general manager in the game, Theo Epstein. Jared Sandberg certainly has defied the critics this year. Although it's hard to believe that anybody could be more criticized than Dan Duquette was when he was there. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 away. Only 3 hits for the Devil Rays so far in this game.
Only 5 for the Blue Jays with a couple long balls. 5 hits and 5 runs. And we were talking about it last night about the walks that have really hurt the Devil Rays in this series. Couple walks tonight, and both of them have scored. They had 7 walks in last night's ball game, and 4 of them have scored. Blue Jay batters cashing in with those runners on base.
Last night it was the K night. Calvin Escobar, 10 strikeouts. Said after the ball game that he wants to play on in Toronto. That's up high, and Walker lost him. So Pete Walker. The limit was 75 pitches.
Yeah, you just went over that now. You saw that little graphic, and you see Gil Patterson writing down some notes. Nothing going on in the bullpen for the Blue Jays tonight. Carlos Tosca also said if he got to that 70 to 75 pitch limit, depending on the game, he might let him go a little bit longer. See how he is, what kind of frame of mind he is in. Because it's his last start of the season, probably his last appearance for the Blue Jays this year, he might stretch him out a little bit longer.
Now Carl Crawford. Sandberg at first. Crawford is 0 for 2 tonight. Couple of base hits and a stolen base last night. A triple on Tuesday night. Drills one down the line. It's hooking. And it's foul. Crawford needs 4 more hits. And this trio in the D-Rays outfield would be the 3rd threesome in the last 64 years to have 175 hits or more. Darn good.
That's a lot of hits. Just the 2 of these guys, the 2 young guys, Baldelli and Crawford, have 351 between them.
Two balls and 1 strike. Straight up in the air. Orlando Hudson weighs everybody off. Pete Walker has only given up 3 hits through 5. His team has 5 runs on the board. They lead 5-1. Johnson, Cal State Fullerton product. Grew up as a gymnast, a soccer player, and first major league season inherits the leadoff role after Shannon Stewart was injured, and then when Stewart was traded away, did a lot of this. Good arm, good D, good bat. Gets hit by a lot of pitches.
Gets on base.
And last year, Eric Hinsky was the surprise, I guess, rookie surprise of the year. Josh Phelps equally, but Reed Johnson certainly has to be that guy for the Blue Jays this year, who lead 5-1 here in the bottom half of the 5th inning.
He surprised so much that he did not make the team out of spring training, but I think you got to throw Aquilino Lopez in that mix also. You know, a Rule 5 draft pickup. He's now worked his way into the back end of that bullpen for the Blue Jays. You got to figure that in itself is a big surprise and a good surprise for the Blue Jays. And this Reed Johnson, the way he has hit the bat with the bat, played defense, a very underrated part of his game is the way he plays defense and throws, runs the bases. You see Pete Walker talking to Gil Patterson. Still nobody warming up for the Blue Jays out in the bullpen. Looks like Pete Walker is going to go out there for the 6th inning.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Johnson. Single earlier tonight, had his 20-game hit streak snapped last night. Fly ball out to Rocco Baldelli. You know you're a surprise when you come from nowhere, though, when your picture isn't even in the media guide for the season. Guess what? It's going to be next year. Let's go to Vic Rauter now. They need to win. Marlins ahead by 3 games in the wild card. Houston still in the wild card race too. But fighting it out with the Cubs for the NL Central. Frank Catalanotto with 1 away here in the 5th. There's going to be one very disappointed team in that NL Central race. You can't get the wild card spot. Only the 1 spot up for grabs unless someone takes both teams take a run, I guess.
Well, someone's got to go in the tank, I think. When you have to climb over 2 or 3 teams, it makes it awfully difficult, especially where we are in the schedule with 3 or 4 games left. The loss column becomes very important also. Those are games that you cannot make up. But you're absolutely right. It's going to be awfully tough for one of those teams to win the wild card. It's either the Central or nothing, or go home.
And I guess there's inspiration for all of the teams in the wild card, especially with Anaheim last year. We talked about upsets and how they can happen in October. Really, the playoffs were full of upsets from top to bottom, from St. Louis beating Arizona. Diamondbacks would have had to have been favored. Giants over the Braves. It might have been a push. Minnesota beat Oakland last year. Remember that? And Anaheim beat the Yankees.
And the Yankees actually won the first game in that series. And it looked like, here we go again. The Yankees are going to just pummel Anaheim. Anaheim came right back and took 3 in a row from them. The Cinderella was on her way.
3 balls, 2 strikes. With 1 away here in the 5th. Catalanotto followed by Vernon Wells. It's been a milestone night here already for Carlos Delgado. Vernon Wells would like to join the party. Hit away from tying Tony Fernandez in the record books. Jared Sandberg with out number 2. Let's go back to Vic for another update. Vic. There is so much discussion about the wild card and what it did to the game and how it might have distorted the races. Well, I like the wild card now. I think a lot of baseball fans like it. Vernon Wells golfing one and still is going to be a hit away. Damian Rolls with out number 3. 1, 2, 3 go the Blue Jays. We've played 5. It's 5-1 Toronto. What's up, Doc? Maybe win number 22. It could come Saturday. Roy Halladay's final start of the season, 405 against the Cleveland Indians, could solidify the Cy Young for sure, although many are saying that it is Roy Halladay's award right now. In fact, Sports Illustrated has said Roy Halladay is a sure bet to win the Cy Young, and Canada will have another piece of the other Cy Young award in the National League with Eric Gagne.
I read that. I think that's a very good chance of happening.
All Canadian size. And guess what? Julio Lugo has done it again. 4 nights in a row. Oh my.
Wow. That's 10 home runs now for Julio Lugo since August 18th, and he adds to his career high now 15 home runs.
If I'm J.P. Ricciardi, I might be thinking about making a trade for this guy because he loves the Skydome 4 nights in a row.
I thought you were going to say check his bat. He reaches out for an off-speed pitch from Pete Walker. Hits a really high home run to left field, and that ball kept carrying a lot like Delgado's home run to right field. It just kept carrying it into the bullpen. Julio Lugo flexing his muscles.
And doing that little funky little celebratory handshake.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to memorize that and forget it, but Lugo has shown some serious pop here this week at Skydome. Home run number 15, RBI 52, and now it's a 3-run game again. And here's Aubrey Huff.
And just like that, action in the bullpen for the Blue Jays.
Vernon Wells gets by him, and Aubrey Huff is going to go to third. Vernon Wells was thinking about diving at first and short hopping it, and then it went underneath him, and Huff ends up on third base.
No, he's playing so deep against Aubrey Huff. We've seen Vernon Wells make plays like that all season long. That ball kept carrying out the center field too, and you can see how he tried to short hop it. And the way they teach them is they want to get on top of that ball. So if they miss it, the glove will knock it down, and it doesn't do this. Go all the way to the wall, give them a couple extra bases. Good job by Bobby Kelty to run back and back up that throw as we see Julio Lugo do his thing again.
We're going to try that. Want to try that? No.
I forgot after the third one.
Well, Carlos Tosca's not wasting any time. Walker's over the limit. He's out. It's a 3-run game, and Huff is at third. And we'll be back to Skydome. Newcomer Vinny Chalk, who was called up from AAA Syracuse in early September, who was actually supposed to start tonight, now comes in relief of Pete Walker. Chalk worked on Monday after Roy Halladay was tossed and worked very well. But right now in a bit of a jam here, thanks to Pete Walker, who gave up a home run to Julio Lugo and then 3-bagger to Aubrey Huff. Rocco Baldelli. Fly ball. Could be trouble. Kelty. And Aubrey Huff wasn't quite sure. Did not tag. And is still at third base.
How about the range of Orlando Hudson going way out into right field to try and catch that short pop-up by Rocco Baldelli. Good aggressiveness by Hudson. Look how far he has to go. Kelty calls him off at the last second, and on top of trying to catch the ball, has to jump over a diving Orlando Hudson. And really nothing that Huff could do in that situation. Wasn't really sure if the ball was going to fall in or the ball was going to be caught by the outfielders. And if you're not sure, you want to go halfway. Because if the ball falls in and you're tagging up, you're not going to score.
So Huff remains at third, one away here in the top half of the 6th. Julio Lugo's 4th home run in as many nights brings the D-Rays within 3. Travis Lee. Devil Rays are kind of like those little terriers that keep nipping at your heels. Can't shake them.
They're tough. They're very aggressive. And they're good. They got some good hitters in the middle of that lineup. Very impressive.
And I know they've lost 97 games and are creeping up on 100 again. But they've played 86 1- or 2-run games.
And they've played the Blue Jays tough in 1- and 2-run ball games also.
3 balls and no strikes. And lost him. 4 pitches. Let's go to Vic Rauter at baseball control. Vic. Marlins up 4-1. Again, could be a champagne night in a couple of cities. Now runners at the corners, tying run at the plate. Here's Damian Rolls. And that one bounced just in front of Kevin Cash. Vinny Chalk coming in here tonight. He's had a couple of appearances. It's a little shaky right now. made his major league debut at Yankee Stadium. Grew up dreaming about the Yankees and playing them, and got called up and put into action in Yankee Stadium. One of his favorite players was Derek Jeter as he watched him through the years. First guy he faced, Derek Jeter,
of course.
Right now facing Damian Rolls. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You can see Chalk's got some good action on that fastball. It's just sliding right out of the strike zone. If he can raise it just a little bit and get these Devil Ray batters to get on top of the ball, he's going to get a ground ball and get himself out of this inning.
Off at third, Lee at first. Low pitch again, and now a ball away from loading them up. Marlon Anderson, who's outstanding with runners in scoring position, is next. Rolls has grounded out twice tonight to Mike Bordick. But he gets the pass. The bullpen will be up again. And Gil Patterson might want to think, and he is going to come out and talk with the rookie pitcher Vinny Chalk. So as Patterson talks to Chalk, we'll talk to Vic Rauter. Vic. Gil Patterson, who was once a Yankee. In fact, one of the prize Yankees, Yankee chain. Everyone thought he was going to be a superstar, and then
he was.
Yeah, it's basically his arm exploded on him.
Yeah, it was really a sad situation. Gil Patterson was really the prize of the Yankee farm system. He was at the top of the organization. I had just come into the organization at the bottom. I had a chance to see him back in 1976, and structurally, I said, this guy is going to be the man. But he has really made the most now as a pitching coach. I think he does a heck of a job with some of these young pitchers.
Marlon Anderson down the line. It's fair. Gets by Kelty. 2 runs will score. Here comes the tying run. Anderson goes to third, and we're all square at 5. Marlon Anderson clears the bases.
In a tough break for the Blue Jays here on this ball that was hit by Marlon Anderson. Tough luck for Pete Walker also. He deserves better. The ball hit down the right field line, but it looked like it hit a seam and bounced away from Bobby Kelty, allowing the runner from first base to score all the way. Watch this ball. Fastball right down the middle, and Marlon Anderson jumps all over it. Hits that seam, and look how it goes away from Bobby Kelty. And by the time that he can run this ball down and get it back in the infield, Damian Rolls scores all the way from first base.
And only 1 out here. 4 runs across already in this inning. Julio Lugo led off with a home run. And these Devil Rays keep nipping, and they're right back in the ball game. Anderson at third. Go-ahead run there. Toby Hall at the plate. And a tough spot for Vinny Chalk. Has not been able to find the plate. 2-0 pitch up the middle, and now the D-Rays go from being down 3 to up 1. And the crowd's restless here.
And Toby Hall jumps all over a fastball from Vinny Chalk. Right down the middle of the plate. You can see it was about belt high, and it didn't have that good sink that we saw as fastball was going out of the strike zone. That time bangs it right back through for the RBI to put the Devil Rays ahead by 1.
Vinny Chalk, a native of Florida. Rude welcome here from a team from Florida. The D-Rays. Pete Walker, who was over his limit before the inning began, gave up the home run and the triple. Another pitching change. We'll be back. J.P. Ricciardi. That would probably be a result of watching his team in this inning. 5 runs, the roof caving in on the Blue Jays. Dan Reichert into the game now against number 9 hitter Jared Sandberg. D-Rays have come right back. They feasted on Pete Walker, a home run, then a triple. Vinny Chulk did not have his stuff here tonight. Couple of walks, triple, and a single. A 5 spot on the board, and Tampa Bay leads 6-5 here in the 6th. Hall at first. It came unraveled in a hurry. Blue Jays were cruising until the top half of this inning.
Well, Pete Walker had only given up 3 hits through 5 innings. Actually threw the ball pretty well. 76 pitches through 5, just 1 earned run. And you're right, a couple swings here. A home run from Lugo might have tipped him off. He deserved better.
Now it's up to the bullpen. And it will be up to the offense. Carlos Delgado will lead off the next inning after hitting 2 home runs. Who would have thought that the Blue Jays would have any deficit in this game here tonight? They have owned the D-Rays. Not now. 1 ball, 1 strike. Delgado going back. Hudson coming over. Delgado calls for it and dropped it. And I'd like to see this again because it looked like Carlos Delgado called for it and Hudson kept coming. Let's take a look.
And it looked like Orlando Hudson had called Carlos Delgado off, and that is the second baseman's ball because he's got a better angle to it. You can see Delgado's back is to the home plate and the play, and you can see how he kind of trips at that last second over Orlando Hudson, and the ball pops out of his glove. Steps on his foot, maybe messes up the concentration just a little bit, and you can see how disgusted he is after he dropped that ball. Sure out.
Delgado calling and calling and then dropping. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Toby Hall gets a reprieve here. Make that 2 strikes. It was a 2-strike count against Toby Hall. He's going back now, and it's a strikeout. Now to the top of the order, Carl Crawford. And this would be through the order for the D-Rays. There's a strikeout to Sandberg. 2 away. Crawford, Hudson can't get to it. Two on now for the D-Rays here in a 5-run 6th.
You know, Rod, I don't even know if he would have been able to throw out Carl Crawford even if he had fielded this ball cleanly. You see his ball kind of just keep rolling away from Orlando Hudson, but look how far he is out in right field to get Carl Crawford, who smells base hit as soon as he hits it. See how fast he is. That's 37 now infield hits for Carl Crawford on the season. That'll help the average, won't it?
So Crawford's at first. Toby Hall is at second. And now Julio Lugo with another at-bat here in this inning. Still in the 6th. He started it off with a home run, his 4th in as many nights. Here's the 0-1 to Lugo from Reichert. Well, this has been Lugo's week. On Monday, he started the 5-run 5th inning for Tampa Bay. Started the 5-run 6th here tonight. Blue Jays just trying to get out of this now. Fouled away. Lugo is in some kind of zone.
Ten home runs since August 16th. He's always a guy who could swing the bat. That was his reputation when he was with the Houston Astros. It was the fielding part of it. That was his downfall. Haven't seen any problems with that either in this series.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Lugo, who began this but a half an hour ago. Ground ball to Hudson, wants to make sure this time. A 5-run 6th inning for Tampa Bay. Julio Lugo started it and ended it. They go through the order. It's 6-5 Tampa.
This buds for the Blues, the Reds, and the Warriors. This buds for the Giants, the Jazz, and the Magic. This buds for the home team.
Blue Jays look like they put the sails up. We're ready to coast, but Tampa Bay bites back in a big way with 5 in the top half of the 6th, and Carlos Delgado in the first inning, career home run number 300.
Got it started in a big way. This one off of windows. A bomb, a 3-runner against Jorge Sosa. Then he takes a changeup from Sosa in the 4th inning and reaches out and muscles the ball over the fence in right field. Big night so far for Carlos Delgado. 5-1 at that time. Like you were saying, 6-5, and now he's going to have to do it against a different pitcher as Joe Kennedy has now come in. Relief of Jorge Sosa.
A guy who has had success against Carlos Delgado. Delgado has had 3 home runs 4 times previously. Once against Tampa Bay a couple of years ago. That one in tight.
Fans don't like that one as the first pitch is up and in, but what makes Joe Kennedy so tough on left-handed batters is the way that he kind of hides the ball right there and then comes right over the top. Good breaking ball. And I'll tell you, it's going to take a rocket for Delgado to get the ball through on the right side anywhere. Julio Lugo is playing short center field.
There's another shot. Could it be 3? Yes, it can. Home run number 302 and counting. Number 40 on the season. Tie ball game at 6. What a night for Carlos Delgado.
That's impressive. Another breaking ball from Joe Kennedy. Just backed him off the last pitch. That time he reaches out and you can see how strong Delgado is. It looked like he one-handed that ball.
Eric Hinske now, tie ball game at 6. Wild one. It's been a crazy week here. From fireworks early in the week with the brushbacks and the beanballs, and now fireworks here tonight from 3 home runs from Delgado. That's the 5th time he's done that, twice against Tampa Bay. He's going to have a chance to go for 4.
That's right. He's going to have another shot.
Career home run 302, 140 RBIs, home run number 40. They might run out of fireworks here tonight. The pyrotechnics crew.
So impressive.
One ball, 2 strikes. So impressive too, though. Lou Piniella Devil Rays coming back in a hurry. I don't know what's more impressive. I guess there's a lot of one-upmanship as Hinske goes down. Delgado's 3 home runs tonight. Lugo doing it 4 nights in a row against 4 different pitchers. They've developed a bit of a rivalry, these 2 teams now. I know no history before that, but
none at all. And we talked about that on Tuesday in the game. Maybe there is a nice little budding rivalry starting here between these 2 teams. 2 young teams, very aggressive teams, up-and-coming teams. It's fun. Makes for fun baseball, doesn't it, to watch?
Yeah, that have finished in the same position in their division the last 6 years. The division has not changed. Might see it change a little bit over the next couple of years. Bobby Kelty goes right-handed this time, where he has more success. His numbers are better. Was 0 for 2 earlier against the right-hander Jorge Sosa. But it's 6-6 here. Don't go anywhere.
A battle of a bullpen now, huh?
Yeah. Nice play by Lugo. Great play by Lugo and Travis Lee, but he's safe at first.
Well, that's another thing that we have seen here in 3 nights is very good defense from both of these ball clubs. That time a ball hit hard by Bobby Kelty. Julio Lugo got to it. Had a little bit more time than I think he thought he had. He could have got up, set himself, and throws up the line. Good job by Bobby Kelty to slide around the tag from Travis Lee. That's so hard for a runner as you're running hard and you're focusing on that bag, and all of a sudden you've got a feel or a sense with that first baseman coming off the bag. You got to make a decision very quickly of what to do. I've seen a lot of runners do that and kind of catch their spikes on the bag and hurt their ankle. Good job by Kelty avoiding the tag.
Toby Hall comes out to talk with Joe Kennedy, who was the opening day pitcher for the D-Rays, then just slumped all season long as Bobby Kelty looks on. Didn't begin the year with the Jays, but with Minnesota, who made the trade for Shannon Stewart. 1 ball, no strikes to Bordick, who's 0 for 2 here tonight. Blue Jays answer right back after giving up a crooked number in the top half. I'll tell you what, when you think that the last week of the season really doesn't mean much to the standings, 2 teams with no hope of the playoffs, playing for next year and rounding it out. Kelty to second, and they got him. And Toby Hall, who leads the majors in throwing out runners, gets Bobby Kelty at second base.
Blue Jays trying to play hit and run against the Devil Rays. Bobby Kelty thrown out easily. You can see the throw a little bit towards the first base side, but because he's got to wait for that left-handed pitcher, make sure he goes home on the hit and run, it's really an easy out at second base. And a tough pitch for Mike Bordick to try and get a piece of it. Looked like a good moving fastball, almost a pitch out in the other batter's box.
Bordick to his counterpart shortstop Lugo. Bullseye. Carlos Delgado had a bullseye earlier. Another leadoff home run, a 3-home run night for Carlos. This time off Joe Kennedy. We are all tied at 6 through 6 at Skydome. Well, just when you have this game figured, 6-6 is the score. Carlos Delgado, 3-home run night.
Let's take a look at the pitch sequence. Joe Kennedy tries to brush him off the plate with a first pitch, a fastball. Here's a hanging breaking ball. Look at the reaction of Carlos Delgado saying, you know what? I want that one back. He gets it on the 3rd pitch, keeps that shoulder in and drives the ball to right field. And look at the reaction by Carlos Delgado. And you want to talk about big games. Here's a few of them for Delgado.
2 of those coming at the ballpark in Arlington. First time he's ever hit 3 home runs in a game here at Skydome. All of those in visiting ballparks. So Carlos Delgado has a chance to go for 4. The way he's hitting it, don't discount it.
He looks comfortable, doesn't he?
Aubrey Huff leading off here in the 7th against Reichert. Huff launches one deep and gone. Aubrey Huff joins the home run derby. He had one last night and one the night before. 3 in 3 nights. It's 7-6 Tampa.
And he got all of this one from Dan Reichert. 3 nights in a row, 34 home runs. That ties the Devil Ray record. Now watch a hanging breaking ball, and his eyes light up. And look at him just kind of surveying that ball. Lands in the second deck right underneath the scoreboard out in deep right field. 34 home runs now for Aubrey Huff. That ties Jose Canseco now for the team record. How about some of these young sluggers we're seeing here?
Ouch. 5 home runs here tonight. 3 by Delgado. 1 by Lugo. 1 by Huff. Huff 3 in 3 nights. Here's Baldelli straight up. Got under this one. Kelty with out number 1 here in the 7th. Not a good night to be a pitcher. The first couple of games here, it wasn't a good night to be a hitter. Might have had a ball coming at you. Travis Lee now. 2 for 2 and a walk. 2 runs scored. Perhaps this is a fitting finale to this week and this season between these two teams. The expansion Devil Rays really had no luck and haven't had many players, although they did sign some big names a few years ago, but haven't played well at all since they came into the majors.
You're right. It was like they never could figure out which direction they wanted to go with their franchise. Should they go with young guys or should they go with veteran guys? They're now back with the young guys, and it seems to be working for Lou Piniella.
Another base hit for Travis Lee. The bullpen for the Blue Jays, I'm sure, will be up and working again very shortly. This one-run game here in the 7th. Do not want to let this get away from them when they had a 5-1 lead. Now Damian rolls. Delgado and Travis Lee having a laugh. A couple of first basemen.
When a guy has 3 home runs like that, you want to go over and stand next to him and stay next to him as close as possible and as long as possible. Maybe some of that will rub off on you a little bit.
Well, impressive night for Delgado, but impressive for the D-Rays too as they fight back here. Hearty young team, one of the youngest in the majors. Only 3 players over the age of 30. Lou Piniella leaving Seattle. Pretty comfortable, cushy job out there with the Mariners. Come back home to Tampa Bay. Some plucky young kids. Maybe future champions down the road. Keep the nucleus together. There goes a hit and run. Hudson for out number 2. Lee goes down to second. Now Marlon Anderson, who stung the Blue Jays with the biggest hit for the D-Rays in the 6th inning. Bases clearing triple after a ball caught the seam in front of Bobby Kelty.
And a pretty good job right there by Orlando Hudson to gather himself. He was the guy covering the base right there on that hit and run. If the ball was hit a little bit harder, it would have gotten by him a lot easier. It stops, changes directions, and aggressively goes after that ball to throw out rolls over at first base.
And they are going to walk Anderson. First base open. And pitch to Toby Hall.
I think it's a good idea. He's hitting about 350 with runners in scoring position. Got the big base hit like you were just talking about down the right field line last inning. Percentages say to face the right-handed hitting Toby Hall.
Carlos Tosca is in a game here with the Devil Rays. Tampa Bay native Tosca. Shouldn't be surprised. D-Rays have played the Blue Jays very tough all year. Now Toby Hall with 2 away here in the 7th. No action in the Blue Jay bullpen. Misses outside. Hall, then Jared Sandberg. Hall had a base hit RBI in the 6th. Cashing in Anderson. Chance here to extend the lead for Tampa Bay. Golfed foul. 13,408 here tonight. Small crowd at Skydome. Cleveland Indians in town the next 3 days to finish out the season. And Roy Halladay goes for win number 22 on Saturday. It's a 4 o'clock start. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 away. 7-6 D-Rays. to end the inning. Got him, but Huff got Reichert. Big boomer, 7-6.
MLB Priceless Moments, presented by MasterCard.
Gives the ball to the kid. How awesome is that?
Jimenez in the air.
And there's one happy fan.
That's why we love this great game and the great players in it.
The moment. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Big hug. I'm a big Josh Bell fan.
Wish you a long and happy life together.
Mike Trout, as usual, signing autographs for some young fans, and the reaction, priceless.
And the Houston Astros doing some scoreboard watching, I am sure, as the Reds trying to play spoilers. After the stretch, take me out to the ball game and Blue Jays theme song. Here we are in the bottom of the 7th. Orlando Hudson to lead off. Travis Harper is now on the hill for the D-Rays. Harper pitched last night as well. Out of the bullpen. 1-run ball game. It's been all long ball for the Blue Jays tonight. Carlos Delgado, 5 RBIs, 5 of the 6 runs. Hudson had a double and the other RBI. That was in the 4th inning. Blue Jays had a 5-1 lead. They've disintegrated. 5 runs, 6th from the D-Rays. Two strikes against Hudson. Just missing outside.
Lou Piniella's got some arms down in that bullpen now. This is the 60th appearance for Travis Harper. Looks like he's got a very good arm, and we know Joe Kennedy is now out down there, but Lance Carter, he also is a rookie. I wonder if he'll garner some Rookie of the Year votes with his saves and the job he has done at the back of that bullpen.
Inside. Did it get Orlando? Looks like it might have. So Hudson gets hit. That one at this stage in the ball game purely unintentional.
Absolutely, a hard breaking ball from Travis Harper. It looked like it hit the back foot of Orlando Hudson. Let's see, watch the big break. Freezes and thinks it's going to miss him, and it looks like it got him right at the last second as you see Toby Hall reaching for that ball. I don't know if it was off the foot or maybe it hit the shin just above the shoe on that back foot. But if it hit that bone, that shin just above the shoe, that really hurts.
After all the hit batsmen in the first couple of games, D-Ray pitchers lead the American League in hitting batters. An atrocious 93 times. That's 94. Blue Jays lead the American League in getting hit. That's number 88.
And again, a breaking ball from Travis Harper, and it looks like it did hit the back leg. Here it is right there off Orlando Hudson. And it looks like he's going to stay in the ball game. Carlos Tosca is out there to talk to him.
One of the swiftest Blue Jays. See how it affects him on the base paths. But the leadoff guy is on after being hit.
Do you get the feeling in this ball game that it's going to be the team that bats last?
Yeah, you certainly do. You wouldn't have thought that about an hour ago.
No, but they're going back and forth now, back and forth, and one team gets up and then the other team comes back. They're like fighters trading punches right now.
So now Kevin Cash, 1-run game here. Cash, the last 2 nights, has laid down perfect bunts for sacrifices. Brian Butterfield gives him the signals. He's 0 for 2 here tonight. And it'll be interesting to see Hudson's effectiveness on the base paths after being nicked on the back foot.
Seen players like that, they get hit and they make all these theatrics out at home plate that they're hurt and they limp down to first base, and a couple pitches later, the next thing you know, they're standing on second base. That they actually decoy the other team thinking that they're hurt. And forget about them over at first base and they steal second base. Ricky Henderson was very good at doing that.
Crowd into it anytime a pitch comes close to a Blue Jay hitter. Getting away from Toby Hall.
And Toby Hall has had some trouble with that ball. I don't know if it's a new glove or what it is, but we saw it early in the game. Pitch hit him in the glove and kind of fall down, and that time it looked like it hit right in the middle of that glove and bounce out. But not far enough for Orlando Hudson to advance into second base. Good time to change it up right here. Maybe play hit and run with a count 1-1.
Checking Hudson again. 1-run ball game. 7 hits for the Blue Jays, 6 runs, 10 hits for the D-Rays, and 7 runs. Squaring again. Right back to Harper. And another sacrifice bunt for the rookie Kevin Cash. 3 and 3 nights. Let's go to Vic Rauter now for an update from Baseball Control. Wow.
You've got to beat teams like the Cincinnati Reds. If you're fighting for the playoffs like that and you go into their place, you have got to find a way to win that game.
Tide turning in that game and maybe in that race. Like we said, it's not a given that the Cubs are going to make it. Now Reed Johnson, top of the order, 1 out. Hudson in scoring position. In a 7-6 game. Kevin Cash hasn't been able to cash too many runners this brief time here, but boy, he can sure lay down a bunt.
Yeah, when he's been called upon to do that, he has done a pretty good job. It's that runner in the scoring position for a couple of guys who've been swinging a hot bat. Reed Johnson and Frank Catalanato.
Johnson 1 for 3 here tonight. Base hit would tie it. Stepping out of the box. Blue Jays scored 3 times in the first inning thanks to Carlos Delgado. Delgado has been the one-man Devil Ray wrecking crew here tonight.
Boy, Toby Hall and Travis Harper having all kind of problems trying to get on the same page of what they want to do with Reed Johnson. You see Travis Harper shake him off. You see Toby Hall then go through another whole set of signs with the runner at second base, shakes him off again. And now you can see Marlon Anderson and Julio Lugo inside there trying to figure out what they want to do with Reed Johnson.
Pinella watches.
A lot of time when you see the middle infielders come in, it's like they're going to change the signs, the catcher and the pitcher. They're not real comfortable, or they're not real sure what signs they're going to use now with the runner at second base.
Still 1-1 with 1 away. Down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Johnson has done some great things as a rookie here for the Toronto Blue Jays. Unheralded, unsung.
They've got to get him on base and bring him around, because when he scores a run, the Blue Jays are 41 and 15.
Breaking pitch up the middle. Hudson will have to hurry. Baldelli with the toss. At the plate. We're all tied at 7. And the rookie does it again.
stays in there on a pretty tough pitch from Travis Harper. Down and away, stays in there and drives it right back from where it came from. Now there's going to be a play at the plate. Rocco Baldelli leads all outfielders in outfield assists. Good read by Orlando Hudson, sees that it's through. Baldelli charges hard. He throws a little bit up the line at third base, allows Hudson to score, but more importantly, get Reed Johnson in the scoring position.
And one away. Go-ahead run at second base. Frank Catalanato. Crazy one here tonight. Will move the runner. Johnson goes to third. Catalanato is out at first. Let's go to Vic Rauter quickly with Vernon Wells up next. Reed Johnson at third base here. Vernon Wells hitless tonight. 2 away. Travis Harper comes inside.
Now remember all the trouble that Toby Hall's had behind the plate catching the ball. If I'm Reed Johnson, I'm getting as big a lead as I can. Try to score this go-ahead run here in the 7th inning. Now he can get off as far as the third baseman will allow him. You can see how far Jared Sandberg is playing off of Reed Johnson. He can get a much bigger lead to try and score on a short foul ball, or excuse me, wild pitch.
There's the man in the middle on Monday night, Phil Cousy. 2 balls, no strikes. Again, Vernon Wells, 1 hit shy of matching Tony Fernandez's hit record of 1986, 213, 212 hits right now. Tops in the American League, hitless here tonight. Did score a run when he walked earlier. Big pitch here for Travis Harper. Down the pipe. Crowd thought it was a little low.
So did Vernon Wells. He thought that one was down.
Carlos Delgado is next if the inning goes that far.
And nobody warming up for the Devil Rays.
Slices it foul. Quite a night here. Quite a week against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays when you thought that 2 teams were just kind of coasting to the sunset. Played very gritty baseball here.
Yeah,
4 straight nights.
They're not just playing out the string, are they?
No, they are not. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. Tie game. Got him. Big pitch by Travis Harper. Once again, Carlos Delgado will lead off the next inning. Homer twice doing that tonight, but it's all tied at 7 thanks to Reed Johnson. 7s are wild here. Another wild one at Skydome. Our game story brought to you by KFC. Real food for summer. Get KFC. Get real.
Carlos Delgado got the Blue Jays off on a good start. The first of his 3 home runs in the first inning, a 3-run blast. You see the 140 RBIs, a new Jays record. Julio Lugo started that rally, that 5-run rally, with his 10th home run in the last 5 weeks for the Devil Rays, and it's been back and forth ever since.
Jared Sandberg to lead off here. 0-4 night for Sandberg. We are in the 8th inning. Dan Reichert still throwing. Lefty throwing in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. Carl Crawford, left-hander, is next. Oh, and inside. Now in the late going. You would think a lot of this is unintentional.
It is unintentional. They're not going to try and put the go-ahead run on first base.
Orlando Hudson got hit in that last half inning and showed no signs of any damage as he scampered around the bases for that tying run. Now 1 ball and 1 strike to Sandberg. Finale of a 4-gamer here. Blue Jays with a win tonight could get 8 from the Devil Rays, but the D-Rays have won 11 off of Toronto this year. A strike 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes. There is a lot at stake for both teams, even though they're not getting to the playoffs. Personal records, of course. A lot of stat padding here tonight. But the Devil Rays are trying to avoid another 100-loss season, and the Blue Jays are trying to get to 85 wins. Result here tonight could go a long way in both departments. 2-2. Got him. Vic Rauter come in with another update from Baseball Control. Wouldn't that be something heading into the weekend? Now the top of the order, Reichert facing the left-hander Carl Crawford.
And Carl Crawford has some kind of fan, and Lou Piniella sitting over in that dugout thinks one day that this guy is so talented that he can win a batting title.
He will not win any PR titles against visiting teams.
No. But the way he swings the bat and with his speed, that he can get those infield singles to keep the stats up and hit over 300. He's really come a long way this year as a hitter. I think the next phase in his game is going to be long balls. It looks like he can hit 15 or 20.
The guy on deck has been the guy who's hurt the Blue Jays this week with the long ball, though, Julio Lugo. Who would have thought that coming in here, that shortstop would bang out 4 homers in 4 days. Crawford, though, if he gets on, is always a threat to score. He's on back in the 6th inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Reichert needing to bear down here. Jammed him inside. Confusion there. Cash and Reichert both didn't know who was going to get the ball. And that jammed little squibbler puts Crawford on with 1 away here in the 8th.
Well, he hits the ball about 30 feet right here, and you're right. Confusion between Kevin Cash and Dan Reichert. Who's going to take this? And as soon as that indecision was there, Carl Crawford's going to beat that out every single time. Now, here's an interesting thing coming up. With the runner at first base, and you know how quick he is, this might be a time to kind of go away from the traditional lefty-righty thing and bring in your left-hander who's warming up. Just because left-handers have better moves over at first base, maybe you can give Kevin Cash a chance to throw out Carl Crawford by bringing in the left-hander and keeping him closer to the bat, because you know he's going to try and steal.
Kevin Cash has thrown out Carl Crawford twice. That was back in Tampa Bay. Crawford stole last night, and it was an easy steal. Look at the lead he has at first base, and looked like he was going to go down to first, safe at first. Quick move by Kevin Cash there. Crawford feigned going to second and then had to dive back.
And once he did that, like you were saying right there, taking that extra step, Cash was very quick from glove to hand. There was a shot down there, very close over at first base.
Julio Lugo, though, single and a home run here tonight. Danger as always. You're so concerned about Crawford, you forget about this guy at the plate. You can't forget about Julio Lugo, as we have seen.
And Carl Crawford is really trying to measure Dan Reichert over at first base. Huge lead over at first. He's trying to get some kind of rhythm from Reichert to try and steal this base.
Oh, and he almost stutter stepped. It looked like he almost got stuck.
He slipped. His right foot was on the turf, and as he brought it onto the dirt to dive back, it slipped from out underneath him. The throw was a little bit lower. Thought he might have had a chance. You can see him kind of slip and the dirt kind of shoot up onto the AstroTurf.
Again, a big lead for Crawford. Will he go? Back again. Reichert keeping him honest. One of the youngest in baseball history to steal 50 or more in a season. Carl Crawford, 22-year-old. 2 balls, no strikes to Lugo in his 7-7 game. A tight one here at Skydome in the 8th inning. Trying to keep him close, but Crawford keeping 1 foot on the carpet, 1 foot in the dirt.
Well, he's just so fundamentally sound with his lead over at first base and his actions getting back to the bag. A step and a dive. Lou Brock used to talk about that, a step and a dive. But if you can get back and you want to go back to that outside part of the base to keep the tag away from the first baseman, when you can do that, you can actually inch off just a little bit more.
Once again, though, 3 balls and no strikes. It could be a moot point in a moment. If he loses Lugo, then Crawford is at second, and he faces Aubrey Huff. Strike 1. Cash will talk with him. Remember, not only has Lugo taken the Blue Jays deep 4 straight nights, Huff has taken them deep 3 nights in a row.
Pretty decent production out of your 2 and 3 hitter in 4-game series. 7 home run.
Now one of the biggest pitches so far in this game. 3 balls, 1 strike. With 1 away. Strike 2. Lugo thought it was low.
And that's not a bad idea to take a 3-1 pitch like that. You know, you have to be confident in yourself as a hitter that, you know what, I can hit a 3-1 pitch or I can hit a 3-2 pitch. I just don't know if he wasn't sure if Crawford was going to steal on that pitch.
Now maybe the biggest pitch right here.
It is. And you know Crawford's going to be going down.
Trying to keep him somewhat close.
And what makes it hard for the infielders is they have to hold their ground now. 3 and 2. If he takes off, they can't be opening up holes right now. You're going to play for the out.
There goes Crawford, fouled away. This should be Reichert's last batter, depending on how this inning goes. Go lefty on lefty with Huff.
Or if they strike Lugo out and he steals the base is open. They might just go ahead and walk Huff and let Reichert face Baldelli. But this is a huge pitch in this ball game.
Crawford gone. Down to second. He struck out Lugo, but Crawford's at second base. Lugo has words for Brian O'Nora.
Not happy at all with that pitch called by Brian O'Nora was Julio Lugo.
Stolen base number 53 for Carl Crawford, and in scoring position.
Watch where this pitch is. Kind of a backup slider that's called a strike. Lugo was very close to interfering with Kevin Cash as he tried to make that throw to second base.
They won't mess around with Aubrey Huff. They'll put him on. And Baldelli coming up. Mr. Manager. Baldelli coming up. Lefty Trevor Miller still working in the bullpen, but Baldelli isn't having a very good night at the plate. 0 for 4.
That's what's scary. He's due.
Like Aubrey Huff was last night. Remember what Huff did to make the game closer. He was 0 for 4, then hit a home run. Right now, all the D-Rays need is a base hit. There's Miller. So the strikeout to Lugo, strikeout Sandberg. Crawford with the base hit and the stolen base. Now 2 on. Huff getting the intentional walk. Smart move there, of course. The necessary move. And now the rookie Rocco Baldelli. 0 for 4 tonight, Baldelli. Just a single last night. It's been a little cold, and you're right, he might be due.
Yeah, 1 for 5 in last night's ball game, and then 0 for 4. Scary, the guy has been so consistent the whole year, right around 300.
And it's his birthday today.
Oh.
22 years young. Up the middle. Bordick diving. Hudson diving. There's a run coming across the plate. And there's a way to celebrate your birthday. Baldelli makes it 8-7.
And you got to wonder how this ball gets by 3 defenders on the Toronto Blue Jays. The first one being the pitcher, Dan Reichert, and Carlos Tosca's already come out to get him. Watch where this ball is. Not a real good swing. He's jammed. It's by the pitcher. Mike Bordick makes a dive, and then Orlando Hudson, maybe he was distracted by that dive by Mike Bordick right there, but it bounces over his glove and out in the center field, and no chance to get the runner.
Wouldn't have mattered anyways. Even if Hudson had got there, probably no chance at first.
Exactly.
8-7 game. Here comes Trevor Miller. Well, Dan Reichert is out. In comes Trevor Miller. Blue Jays trail 8-7 after the single up the gut by Rocco Baldelli. That one hurts the Blue Jays in a big way. 2 on, 2 away. Travis Lee to face the lefty. I guess there are a lot of hindsight is 2020, but do you bring lefty in earlier to face Carl Crawford to keep Reichert in the ball game? Induce the ground ball. This will be out number 3, but Carlos Delgado will lead off, and could it be a 4-home run night? This team needs it right now. Down by 1 to the bottom of the 8th.
MLB at Home is presented by Roman, the digital health clinic for men and proud partner of Major League Baseball.
Well, a bizarre night of scoring. Carlos Delgado, 3 home runs in the game. 5 times he's done that in his career. Back in the first inning. 3-run shot off of windows. Career number 300. Milestone night for him. In the 4th, solo shot, 301. That was a leadoff home run. Leading off the 6th off of lefty Joe Kennedy. Another home run, and he leads off here in the 8th. Now, 4 home runs might be a little much to ask. No Blue Jay has ever done that. But it's been that kind of night. 3 for 3. And a new pitcher, Lance Carter.
Lance Carter has done one heck of a job for Lou Piniella and the Devil Rays. He has a win or a save in 31 of Tampa Bay's 61 victories, 51%.
They'll be very careful with him here. 1 ball, 1 strike. Delgado has only 1 hit lifetime against Carter. A home run. An 8-7 game. Blue Jays early on, and a 5-1 lead thanks to all those homers. Devil Rays battling back.
And out of those 24 saves you see from Lance Carter. A big changeup right there. He's only had to get a 2-inning save 1 time. That was a couple weeks ago against the New York Yankees. So a lot being asked of him here to go through 2 innings to try and pick up the save.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Golfed. Hit hard. No way! 4 home runs for Delgado. A 4-home run night. Never before has a Blue Jay done that. Until now.
And that might have been the longest out of all of them. Wow. Holy cow. Locked in. Another changeup from Lance Carter, and that's a no doubt about it. Look at the reaction from Delgado. Look where it lands. Wow.
it. They want Delgado to make a curtain call.
Now the Jays have to win the game.
Wouldn't that really dampen it? Delgado gets 4 home runs, which has been done a few times. Mike Schmidt did it. Mark Whiten has done it. No Blue Jay has ever done it until tonight. Carlos Delgado. What a milestone night. 300, 301, 302, 303, and now 4 home run night.
Wow. That's a first. I've never seen it before.
Yikes. Eric Hinske now trying to follow that. What a night for Delgado. What a night at Skydome. Just crazy, huh? It's one of the wackiest weeks in baseball at the Skydome.
This is what it's all about, isn't it?
Well, it went from guys hitting batters to a guy hitting the ball in a big way. Hinske drives one to center field. Baldelli back off the wall. Hinske round second, will go to third. Slides in head first, he's safe. A triple for Eric Hinske.
And look at the face of Lou Piniella after those 2 batters, Delgado and Hinske, a home run, a triple. This ball is tagged to center field by Hinske, and it comes off that wall. Baldelli gives it a good shot. You can see why he leads outfielders in assists. Look at the arm from Baldelli. Short hopping and making this a play at third base. Once it went off the wall, I didn't think he had any shot at getting Hinske at third base, but he reads it right in front of him. You see Brian Butterfield saying, "Get down." Triple for Eric Hinske.
Bobby Kelty now. Go ahead run at third base with nobody out. The 5th time in American League history that someone has hit 4 home runs in consecutive at-bats. Carlos Delgado tonight. The Blue Jays trying to polish it off. Big cut there. The last player to hit 4 home runs consecutively in at-bats, Mike Cameron, May 2nd of last year. 15th all-time 4 home run game. Last one in the National League, Carlos Delgado's buddy, Sean Green, May 23rd last year.
He did that in Milwaukee. I remember that. Wow. This is fun, isn't it?
What a performance from Carlos Delgado. 41 home runs, now 303 career. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And they're saying it was a tip by Kelty. Hall couldn't hang on. So still nobody out. Maybe Carlos Delgado making a surge of his own. Everybody talking about Vernon Wells for MVP.
That's a great point.
You know, the numbers are very, very impressive.
You can't deny the number.
He hasn't stopped smiling. Here's the 1-2. Outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, both bullpens have been battered here as well tonight. Starters getting knocked out. Pete Walker and Jorge Sosa. Walker had a 3-hitter at one point. Kelty. Fly ball to left. Carl Kronsky. Who knows? 9-8 Blue Jays. As Bobby Kelty does the job with a sacrifice fly.
And Kelty is patient enough to let Carter get the ball elevated in the strike zone so he can get a pitch that he can drive out into the outfield. The pitch he fouled off was just a little bit low. And he got one up in the strike zone. A good piece of hitting by Bobby Kelty. Remember where the pitch was, where he fouled it off. It was down around the dirt. The plate umpire called it a ball.
Now Mike Bordick, 9-8 Blue Jays. The deuce here thanks to another home run by Carlos Delgado. The triple by Hinske. One away.
Bordick launches to left field. Forget about it. Another home run for the Blue Jays. A little insurance from the veteran Mike Bordick. Only his 5th of the season, and Lou Piniella is absolutely stunned.
Lance Carter has done a heck of a job for Lou Piniella, and I think that's why he is so stunned. Look where this ball lands in left field. Way up there.
Balls are flying here tonight. Most of them off the bat of Carlos Delgado. You know, we talked about the 4 consecutive home runs as we see Bordick, who went over the fence as well. It'd be interesting. I don't know if 4 consecutive home runs have ever come with 3 of them being leadoff home runs. You'd have to dig deep.
We have to put our stats man to work.
Guru Scott Carson.
Saying forget it, huh?
His head is spinning here tonight.
Enjoy the game. It's fun. Wow.
Carlos Delgado giving Mike Bordick the signal that he needed 3 more home runs to catch Carlos tonight. What a night for Delgado. Bordick chips in. 2 away here with Kevin Cash, who should join the party. He has never had a home run. Strange things have been happening here tonight. Blue Jays. Cash fly ball. Rocco Baldelli under it. And we head to the 9th. The Blue Jays come back. Delgado on a milestone night. What a night. 4 home runs. Just like that. Blue Jays lead 10-8. Welcome back to Home Run Derby, everybody. Carlos Delgado night at Skydome, one of the greatest hitting displays in Blue Jay history. 4 home runs in 1 game. Now has 303. Delgado is 96th on the list, surpassing Rogers Hornsby. Next up, David Justice at 95. Damian Rolls with Tampa Bay down by 2 now. We talked about the grit and the fight of the Devil Rays coming back from a 5-1 deficit. How about the spunk from the Blue Jays, too? 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Miller's still in. Aquilino Lopez usually would come in this situation over the last few weeks, last couple of months, but he's gone the last 3 days. Blue Jays cannot let up here. This one is not in the books yet.
No, not the way that we have seen this Devil Ray team come back the last few nights.
Unbelievable. Carlos Delgado tonight. Talk about being on the threshold of a milestone. And then even surpassing expectations. Kevin Cash coming to the dugout. There's playable, but Devil Rays couldn't scurry and Cash couldn't find it.
Well, nobody on that Devil Ray ball club is going to get up and try and help Kevin Cash as he comes over towards their dugout. He takes a look and he sees the Gatorade bottles there. Doesn't want to go crashing into them. He drops harmlessly on one bounce into the stands.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Damian Rolls. Marlon Anderson next. D-Rays have fought back all night. Ground ball to Hinske. Long toss. Delgado. Out number 1 here in the 9th. Marlon Anderson, big night for him, 4 RBI night. Crowd chanting Carlos, at least a few of them. This will go in the annals of Blue Jays history and the highlight reels. Not a World Series win like the Joe Carter home run, but one of the most impressive, outstanding power displays, all coming on different counts.
And they weren't cheapies either. The one in the first inning was right off the windows in center field.
2 off of Jorge Sosa, making 3 in a row. 0-1 in the first at bat, 1-0 in the second, 1-1 against Joe Kennedy, a lefty. Then a 3-2 pitch off of Lance Carter. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Blue Jays creeping closer if they can get this to win 84. Cleveland comes to town to end the season. Roy Halladay goes Saturday. And the Blue Jays might not get a playoff spot, but it has been a season full of some sparkling achievements, from Vernon Wells numbers to Carlos Delgado tonight and the first half of the season to the Cy Young Award if Roy Halladay gets it. They're missing again.
In serving notice, I think that they're going to be a team to reckon with next year. I really think so.
If you missed this ball club, watching this ball club this season, you missed a lot. They're a lot of fun to watch. A lot of young potential. Here's the 3-2. And he walked it. So now the tying run will come to the plate. Is there a full moon tonight? Toby Hall. Again, everybody is standing around in the Blue Jay bullpen. Hall, then Jared Sandberg. Toby Hall can go deep. And the way the ball has been jumping off the bat tonight, they better not toss up a meatball. Pretty good finale for our final broadcast of the season on TSN. Thanks, partner, for another great year.
It's been a lot of fun, hasn't it?
I'd like to thank director Richard Wells. He's got a pretty good camera shot right there. And Bruce Perrin, our producer. Statistician Scott Carson, Bobby Layden up here, and the great crew here at Skydome. What a finish. Fly ball to Bobby Kelty, and the D-Rays are down to their final out. But again, tying run will be at the plate. Last crack here for the D-Rays. Again, the Jays have to be careful because number 13, Carl Crawford, is next. Catalyst. Got it going in the 8th.
Yeah, they want to end it right here against Jared Sandberg. He's 0 for 3 in tonight's ballgame with a couple strikeouts.
Kelty, and it's over. And what a way for the Toronto Blue Jays to win this one. What a night for Carlos Delgado. Milestone night. 4-home run night. 300 home runs plus. We'll talk with Carlos Delgado on SportsCenter coming up tonight. An incredible night as the Blue Jays get win number 84.
So much fun. They jumped ahead 5-1. Pete Walker was cruising. It was a battle of the bullpen, and it was Carlos Delgado who delivered the knockout punch.
4 of them. As a matter of fact. 4 home runs. Never done before by a Blue Jay. One of the most spectacular nights in Skydome history, provided by this guy, Carlos Delgado. First of all, career number 300. Then you add 3 more on-course.
I got lucky. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's one of those days that everything seems to go your way. I mean, I got some good pitches to hit, and I had a good swing going today. I mean, I can't explain it. I'm just going to enjoy it.
It looked like you were staying back on the ball. They weren't cheap home runs. They were no doubt about it. And I was watching your reaction as you came out of the batter's box. The last one. Let's talk about the last one because I think that was the biggest one.
Well, I got a fastball. I mean, in the outside corner. I mean, tough pitch for me. And I just say I don't want to make an out on that one. Then I got two strikes. I know he got a pretty good changeup, so I just want to stay back and just go back up the middle. And I got it up in the sun a little bit, and I was able to drive it.
You weren't thinking home run in that situation?
You know what? No. I mean, I say the moment you start thinking home runs, you get in trouble. So I was just trying to hit the ball hard, and that's what I tried to do all night. Just try to make contact, hit the ball hard. And you know what? The ball was carrying for me.
Carlos, you're also a guy who doesn't really think about numbers too much, but what does it mean to get 300 home runs and then also to add your name to a very impressive list of players who have hit 4 home runs in one game?
Well, it's an honor. I mean, I'm pretty happy right now, and I just tell you, you don't know how you do it. You just, it kind of happens. I mean, and I'm glad it happened to me. I'm going to enjoy it. And just the 300 home runs, that means I've been around for a long time. I mean, that's all it means.
You were giving it to Mike Bordick there, though. He was 3 behind you.
Well, I wasn't giving it too much of a hard time. But hopefully I can, stay around for a few more years, hit a bunch more. And hopefully health is a very important thing. So if I can stay healthy, you know what? Hopefully we can keep adding to that list.
What a terrific season. What an awesome night. To Carlos Delgado, thank you.
Thank you very much.
4 home run night, 303 in his career. An incredible night at Skydome.